that autumn wind. Shout out to the Raiders, man, we about to win.
Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. Today's show presented by BMW of Santa Maria. I asked y'all, give me some quarterbacks that you would want the Raiders to target in 2020 in free agency or in a trade. So I got 9 quarterbacks, and the way that this is going to work, I'm going to give you Derek Carr or fill in the blank quarterback. So I got 9 quarterbacks not ranked in any order whatsoever, but it's the 9 most common names that people sent me on my Instagram. So right now, the reason why we're talking about it is because Derek's on the hot seat. And if you watch my rumor show, you'll know that I gave this one 3 Chucky heads because Derek Carr is 100% on the hot seat. The Raiders have lost 4 straight games in very ugly fashion. If the Raiders cut him in 2020, it cost the Raiders only $5 million. And I've asked you guys multiple times, do you believe in Derek Carr? Do you believe in Derek Carr? Give me that one right now. Why for yes and for no? Because when you look at these numbers here, we're not getting the production that we got out of Derek early on. And I am a Derek Carr believer. And if you're wearing silver and black, I will support you. Derek Carr is an average quarterback. 2017, 2018, 2019 has proven that to me. I don't think we'll ever get the MVP caliber of Derek Carr in 2015 or 2016. But the real reason why I wanted to do this show is because if y'all are saying trade Derek or sign another quarterback, you need to understand who else is out there. Now, this picture says it all. It says it all. He has not lived up to the MVP expectations that we signed him for. When you look at the money that we paid Derek Carr, he has not lived up to it. So what did I do on today's show? I gathered 9 quarterbacks that the Raiders should potentially look at in signing or trading because that's what y'all wanted. That's what y'all wanted, and that's what you're going to get. So should the Raiders, sign or trade for a quarterback in 2020? That's the topic of today's show. What should the Raiders do in 2020? I want you to type S for sign, I want you to type T for trade, or I want you to type K for keep Carr. Quarterback decisions are coming for the Oakland Raiders. And what should they do? Type S for sign, type T for trade, type K for keep Carr. I can guarantee you this. I am going to need this beer on today's show. Get the votes in. Get the votes in. We're going to let some of these votes tally it up here. I'm going to get my creative juices flowing. What should the Raiders do in 2020? The Raiders Report is all about the voice. So this show, you will, believe me, get a chance to get your opinions in. So the first quarterback, the most common quarterback that I was given, was Cam Newton. That the Raiders should go after Cam Newton. Well, first off, you're going to have to trade for Cam Newton. That's an important thing, unless the Carolina Panthers decide to cut him. My only question to that is, Will Grier, I don't know if he's the answer. Kyle Allen, he hasn't been playing very well. And Cam Newton, well, $18.6 million next year. It's actually a pretty favorable contract for the Panthers to keep him. But this question is all about this. Who is the better quarterback? I want you to type Carr, or I want you to type Newton. So type Carr or type Newton. I'll give some shout out to some of the people here. Right now we got 529 people watching the Raiders Report. We're up to 198 messages a minute. I want this show to get up over 500 messages a minute. Okay? So continue to weigh in. Continue to get your votes in. Derek Carr or Cam Newton. Now this is what Cam has done. Now we know we've talked about Derek Carr's 2015 being an MVP caliber season. Well, Cam Newton in 2015 was in fact the NFL MVP. But since the NFL MVP season, you guys can look at the numbers. He's gone down a little bit. And in fact, this year he wasn't even able to win a game. Now, Cam Newton to me is a very, very fun player. But I think Cam Newton's name value is a lot different now than what it was. So if you all were to ask me, Derek Carr or Cam Newton, I'm going to keep my vote for Derek Carr. Let's talk about another quarterback that y'all wanted me to talk about, that y'all kept telling me that the Raiders should go out and get in 2020. He's a free agent, and I would probably argue that he's the top free agent in 2020. It's Teddy Bridgewater, quarterback of the Saints, who played backup to Drew Brees this year. So you know what I'm going to ask you. Do you want Teddy Bridgewater or do you want Derek Carr? So type DC4 for Derek Carr Or I want you to type TB5 because FTB12. So who's the better quarterback? Derek Carr or Teddy Bridgewater? Type DC4 or type TB5. Teddy Bridgewater to me was a great story. And when he first came out of the draft out of Louisville was a player that I liked a lot. Two gloves Teddy. I think he's had a pretty solid career with the Minnesota Vikings and then had a very, very unfortunate leg injury. But the reason why Teddy Bridgewater has been brought up so many times on this show, the reason why Teddy Bridgewater will continue to get brought up is because of what he was able to do with the New Orleans Saints when Drew Brees went down. 9 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. A 5-0 record. That's the important stat there. A 5-0 record. Teddy Bridgewater came into the New Orleans Saints, and they didn't miss a beat. They looked very, very good. Now, I'll still say that the Saints are a much better team with Drew Brees, but Teddy Bridgewater was able to come in, and I think I'm starting to see a little bit of a Jimmy G type of contract where you see a player who basically plays 5 games and then gets a big fat contract. I saw a report out there that Teddy Bridgewater could basically get between 20 and 30 million. The reason why that makes me chuckle is because 20 to 30 million is such a wide gap. And that's basically like me saying this rumor is between 0 and 4 Chucky heads. Well, guess what? No flipping crap. Now, continue to grow the nation here. My goal, 35K subscribers. We're currently at 33,897. And I appreciate everyone who continues to subscribe. I appreciate everyone who I met this past weekend that says that they share my show. Let's give the nation a voice. I want you to subscribe. Click that big red button, youtube.com/Raiders Report, because this show, around Derek Carr replacements, if you want Derek, the louder we get, I bet you we keep him. If you want him gone, the louder we get, there's a good chance he might be out the door. The Raiders watch this show, and y'all should subscribe, youtube.com/Raiders Report. Let's go to the next quarterback that y'all brought up, Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston makes me chuckle a little bit because I love the people that rip on Derek Carr for turning the football over, because those are the same people that are like, Jameis Winston has thrown for 30 touchdowns this year. Jameis Winston's thrown the football down the field. You might be able to sense my sarcastic tone because Jameis Winston is not a better quarterback than Derek Carr. And if I get one more freaking person to tell me that Jameis Winston has put up X amount of fantasy points and that he's better than Derek Carr, I'm going to go freaking nuts. All right? I'm going to go absolutely nuts. So you can see the bottom bar there. Better quarterback, Derek Carr or Winston. I want you to type in either Carr or I want you to type in Winston. If I don't see 1,000 Carrs, I'm going to go nuts because mean 519 makes my point exactly. 24 interceptions. We're not even counting the fumbles. The amount of turnovers that Jameis Winston has had in his entire career, the amount of turnovers that Jameis Winston has sustained this season is laughable. It's laughable. And for anybody that keeps sending me Jameis Winston would be better in a Raiders uniform, get ready. It's laughable. Derek Carr, I better see a whole bunch of cars in the comments section. I got to calm down a little bit because I want to give a special shout out to our good friends here at Chat Sports. Bet the Aside, the internet's #1 sports book. Chatsports.com/bet. The promo code Raiders120. It gets you 120% deposit bonus. If you put down $50, you get $60 for free. Put down $100, you get $120 for free. If you like betting on NFL games, college football, NBA, I promise you, you will not find a better deal out there than Bet the Aside. And also, they are good friends here, so if you support me, go out and support Bet the Aside. I would definitely appreciate that. It's chatsports.com/bet. That promo code Raiders120, it gets you 120% deposit bonus. Let's talk about Marcus Mariota. 2019 this year, 7 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Another quarterback that's been brought up a ton. So you know what I'm going to ask you? Derek Carr or Marcus Mariota? The reason why everyone always talks about Marcus Mariota is because, Mitch, he can run. He's mobile. He can run a lot better than what Derek can. So type DC or type MM. If you want Carr, type DC. If you want Mariota, type MM. Man, I am pounding my keyboard right now, and y'all should too, for DC. We have just witnessed a Tennessee Titans team go from being very pathetic to pretty good with Ryan Tannehill. Now, Ryan Tannehill, you're going to see here in a little bit, but it blows my mind that people still want Marcus Mariota over Derek Carr because he can run. And I get it. There's a lot of Oregon fans that watch this show from being out west. But Marcus Mariota, all the Tennessee Titans have ever done is surround him with unbelievable talent in the draft and free agency. And he still can't get it done. Ryan Tannehill looks like so much of a better quarterback than Marcus Mariota. So type DC. Type DC because it's not Mariota, who is a free agent in 2020. And it makes me laugh because when you look at this, Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota. Number 1 overall pick, number 2 overall pick. And everyone is like, Mitch, go out and get Joe Burrow. Just because you draft somebody early doesn't mean he's going to be an absolute success. That's all I'm saying. Let's talk about the next quarterback on our list. It's Philip Rivers, who will be a free agent in 2020, who will be turning 37 years old. Let me say it again. He's going to turn 37 years old. Now, some of you might say, Mitch, he's chasing a ring. I think the only ring he should chase is Nuva ring, and you all know that joke very, very clear. But when you look at this year, 21 touchdowns, 18 interceptions, who's the better quarterback right now? Derek Carr or Philip Rivers? I always tell people to subscribe to the Raiders Report because we're diehard Raider fans, and yet I have people who watch this show send me that the Raiders should let go of Carr and we should get Philip Rivers in the offseason. Are you kidding me? Did we not watch Philip Rivers this year already going up against the Oakland Raiders? I also despise Philip Rivers, and seeing Philip Rivers in silver and black would make me go absolutely crazy. Cod Creature says Rivers sucks. That one's for Chucky Heads. Believe it, baby. Let's talk about another quarterback, Ryan Tannehill. I think right now, if you want to go out and get Ryan Tannehill, he's not going to be a free agent in 2020. You're probably going to have to trade for him. So, knowing that, would you give up potential draft picks for a quarterback like Ryan Tannehill? Now, Ryan Tannehill has been one of the best stories in the NFL. He really has been. 17 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He has a position where he could get the Titans in the playoffs. Now, this one was a lot more common after Week 14 when Tannehill lit us up for 391 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. My reply, you find me a quarterback recently who hasn't lit up the Oakland Raiders. The Oakland Raiders defense has been getting lit up more than me this past weekend and more than a Christmas tree on Christmas. Our defense has been struggling. Every quarterback's been playing well. Ryan Tannehill or Derek Carr. I didn't even give you the option because I think Ryan Tannehill's going to stay in Tennessee. Let's go to another quarterback. It's Andy Dalton. Now, for some of you that are wondering, this isn't my list. This is a list of quarterbacks that people have sent me over the past 2 weeks. This is every single quarterback. We tallied the votes. This is the most 9 common quarterbacks that people said that the Raiders should go out and get in 2020 because Derek Carr is not the answer. So what I'm asking everyone right now, would you rather have Derek Carr or the quarterback that I'm showing on screen? That's a lot of orange on screen right now. I don't want Andy Dalton to be a Raider. I've seen enough of Andy Dalton to know that if you want to talk about a player who can't get it done in prime time, you're looking at him. A player who's never won a playoff game, you're looking at him. A player, look at his numbers on night games in prime time. Andy Dalton is not the answer. Derek Carr is a much better quarterback than Andy Dalton. So I am typing my C in the comments section right now. And you know what? You want to type DC? I'm okay with it. But if you honestly believe that Andy Dalton is a better quarterback than Derek Carr, I am just scratching my head. I'm scratching both my heads. I'm scratching just so many things because I wonder what your football knowledge is. Next quarterback, Case Keenum. Free agent in 2020. I had a few people who watched the show from Minnesota that said the Raiders should go out and get Case Keenum because he has not been given a fair opportunity the last 2 years, which actually I do not disagree with. I think he was thrown into a horrible situation in Denver. Let's be honest. It's Denver. And then in 2019, this past year, thrown into another bad situation with the Redskins. When you go back and look at what he did in 2017, he actually had a pretty good year with the Vikings. Led that team and fit the system very well. But let me say this one time and make this very clear. Derek Carr is a better quarterback than Case Keenum. That one's for Chucky Heads. Believe it, baby. Now, shout out to BetDSI for hooking up the Raiders Report with the best deal on the internet, which is also for Chucky Heads. Believe it, baby. Go get the deal right now, chatsports.com/bet. Right now is the best time to get started with BetDSI because not only do you get that free deposit money, you also, good chance, you're going to get $25 before Christmas. Hurry up, limited time. Go, BetDSI, chatsports.com/bet. Now, maybe the quarterback that I was given the most, I save for last. It's Colin Kaepernick. Would you rather have Colin Kaepernick or Derek Carr? You can type Carr or you can type Cap. I am still really, really confused by the fact that people still even give me this question because Colin Kaepernick hasn't played in the NFL since 2016. Now, I know this show is all about y'all, and it's why that I put it on the show. But Colin Kaepernick is not a better quarterback than Derek Carr. Colin Kaepernick, if you think that he is a better quarterback than Derek Carr, I'm going to laugh at you. Watch. Ha! Derek Carr is so much of a better quarterback than Colin Kaepernick, and I don't care if Kaepernick can run. Go back and watch Kaepernick's last few years in the NFL. The dude couldn't throw the football. And sure, people are like, Mitch, he played in a Super Bowl. I don't care. Like, he played in a Super Bowl so long ago, that was 2012. I can't even put it up on screen. Colin Kaepernick is not a better quarterback than Derek Carr. But I always say the show is about you. It's always about you, and it's always going to be about you. So if you want me to talk about Kaepernick, I will. So here it is. Colin Kaepernick is not better than Derek Carr. This show, all about quarterback decisions for the Raiders. What should the Raiders do in 2020? Should we sign a quarterback like one of the 7 quarterbacks I talked about? Should we trade for a quarterback? Maybe like Cam Newton. Maybe like Ryan Tannehill. Or do we just keep Derek Carr? Some of you, I get it. You want answers right now, and I do too. Man, we put a lot of time and effort in this show, and I love what we have here. And we deserve more as the nation. So what should the Raiders do in 2020? I want you to type S for sign. I want you to type T for Carr. I want you to type K for keep Carr. Here's my answer. You stick with Derek Carr in 2020. He gives you your best chance to win in 2020. I don't think any of those other quarterbacks give the Raiders a better chance. And when I say that, it's because you got to think of what you're going to have to potentially give up and what you're going to have to potentially pay some of those quarterbacks. So for me, I'm sticking with Derek Carr. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky Heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this, I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.